And we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Concordia Consularis, the spiritual and business agency of peace. Today, I'm joined by Harrison. Hello, Harrison.
Hey, how are you guys? It's glad to be here for another session today.
Oh, we've got an echo.
I don't know, can you hear me? For another session today.
Just wondering to everybody, how is the sound if you're joining us? How can you hear us okay? Do let us know. We'd really like to. We're not sure because of the extreme censorship that takes place on these realms. Oh, here we go, here we go. So it'd be great if you could do that. We've experienced a few difficulties and seen some interesting things this week that have basically.
I think the sound is perfect from my end.
Great.
Yeah,
great.
That's fantastic.
Right. Oh, glad to have that clear. So today we are looking at Google. So if you like our little channel here and the things we do leave a like, comment, get involved, share an opinion, a thought, a contribution. We'd really love to hear from you. All of this helps us to stay afloat here, even though we're just floating in the ethers. We don't ask of anything in return, just that if you do join, lovely subscribers, or you're viewing this on the random levels, do leave a like, a comment, an emoji, whatever it may be, because it helps Google or YouTube to recognize that we exist here. And it gives us a tiny little boost, and all tiny little boosts here are welcome. So today I said that we were going to be looking at Google. Now, the reason for this is, just bear with me a second, is because we are restricted, we are shadow banned. We know this, we've known this, but it does get a bit boring because it's just one person. And this week has been quite interesting for discovering issues with the noting of our ranking, our position on YouTube, etc. And it's really quite boring stuff. So Harrison, in the meantime, while I do this, do you just want to give a quick review of the Robert Kennedy scene, Bobby Kennedy's after effects that you have noted from the clearing at soul level that we did this week?
Oh yeah, in the past video that we did, we were looking into RFK and his huge undertaking in terms of the presidency campaign that he is doing at the moment. And we are looking at his soul group or his soul lineage and family, and also specifically looking in his voice and the way people perceive. And there are talks or speeches of people saying that they can't listen to him. Others do listen to him. And also he himself said that he normally doesn't rewatch or listen to some of the interviews that he has done in the past because of his voice. And it's something that it's a disease, though I don't have the specific name at the moment, but it's something that the science of today has been able to recognize. And we were looking into that. And what happened is that The most recent video that he has done, I could feel or hear him more clearly. Just like in our previous video where we said there's a certain kind of frequency that's gonna emanate from his voice. So despite his voice being a little bit shaky, this frequency, it's gonna make each and every single person to want to listen to him, to rewatch his videos every single time, and to want to hear what he has to say. And he has this power to move masses, and also other people are catching into this kind of charisma that he is carrying, his authentic self, his soul frequency, and his stand on some of agendas that he is speaking of. And to some people, that's wonderful. To others, it's a sad place to be, because of we do know right now in our planet, there's a lot of wrangling going around. Some of them hide behind political parties, political leaders, and these agendas are implemented through the government. And the system as it is now, and what it desires to implement, the last person it would like or would love to have is another JFK in office. And this is another path or opportunity that is presenting, and we'll see how it plays out. And I'm seeing him in every single session that he is doing. He is able to pass his message authentically, clearly, and people are able to understand what he is saying and feel him and connect with the audience at another deeper level.
Great.
So, yeah,
that's wonderful, because it is that you can hear there's a definite improvement in the flow, and this improvement should span out to everybody who's ever had a problem with their voice, a problem with their expression of their words and their soul words, most importantly. So it has been beneficial. It's been very good to see, and we're just going to feel a level of celebration that all souls can speak their truth, and it will be heard in this universe, including ourselves, because we're not just wired up here on earth. We are in every realm, every dimension and density that exists in this universe. And it's been a long time wiring it all up, connecting it all up to the ultimate broadcast facility that is the human. So that's really good news. So I managed to get everything sorted out in that moment, Harrison, thankfully.
yeah.
So,
And also myself, I've managed to have a cup of ginger and lemon. So this is what I'm taking to smoothen my voice.
Okay. Yeah, I could do with one of those, but sadly I missed the opportunity. Anyway, so hello, lovely Google. You can see the lovely bright image there. We know that we are shadow banned by this data intelligence collecting tool. It's actually quite surprising. Some of the things that we have noted, especially when it comes to Concordia and searching online using Google for Concordia. So I'm just going to come back here and just share this picture of our findings of this inability to match correct data. So as you can see here, we have a description. When you type in Concordia Consularis, we have a description here of a video that we did, Healer Upshift, Secret Space Program, Star Nations, Cultural Abundance, Resolution, with somebody there who came onto the show. And what happens is that somebody else's video is superimposed over the top of ours, somebody with the same surname, which is quite random, but not. here as well. Spiritual contract revocation, step by step with Concordia Consularis. And here we have it listed under UNESCO Pacific, and then the image again of somebody else with a completely different title. The second For Universities Consortium International Conference. Great, I'd give them all the best wishes in the world. Here we have, choices, free will, dances of earth in ancestral court, Concordia Consularis. But again, we're under the title of Rethinking Economics. And you, as you can see quite clearly here, it's nothing to do with this subject, because we are about spiritual resolution and what that means for the soul. And when the soul resolves all issues of the inner being, inner conscience, shadow conscience, whatever you want to call it, then the physical body begins to heal itself of these experiences that have taken place on an infinite level. So I don't expect these people to actually understand or be aware of any of these issues. However, it does not bode well if you cannot correlate simple data and data protocols and match them to the correct type. That means that your system is skewed and potentially has programming issues, or it's not really anything to do with humans so much these days, but is more than likely a programmed AI, which we're seeing all over social media. And we note that it is a vacuous hole of lies and suppression under the guise of misinformation. And this is where many people are being censored. So for us today in this spiritual court of equity, let's bring Google back into it. On this spiritual court of equity, we would like to invite all of those people that are involved in this organization to the highest level, and the ones that use this data intelligence mining tool to inhibit the natural flow of creators, but also specifically ourselves, Concordia. And we know that this is an intelligence agency protocol, a program that is used to harvest your data and is utilized to advertise at you, but also to sell your data behind your back. So is that a good thing in this day and age? Do you want that? Have you paid mind to that? And we're going to be investigating this further in this universe right now. So do we have everybody coming in? We have Earth present, all ancestors, all star beings, all intelligence agencies, and all those that they provide this data to. And again here, I just would like to invite all those behind those scenes that would like to see Concordia Consularis censored. Oh, it's full on one side, heaving. Now, what we do have here is a specific intelligence agency, and we know who they are. I was advised in a former sitting of the Court of Equity that they are watching and observing, and we're bringing all the independent technology that they utilize or hijack in this universe. And Harrison, your observations, please.
I'm getting this kind of machine-like kind of thing with tentacles spread into each and every single thing is what has been pulled into the code. So it has this machine-like kind of presence with an artificial intelligence controlling it. And from there, let me see. It's like this machine intelligence, it's at the center, and then around it, there's a circle of people surrounding it, seated in a board kind of a structure where they appear to be decision makers, but the decision they make is is the data that is collected from this machine. So together, this is what they are doing to manipulate things and the way the agendas they want to be implemented. And the core of the things that I'm feeling here is that they have no emotions, they don't care, and it is their way or highway, you know.
It's interesting, isn't it? Okay, so let's have a look at this tentacle AI and its spider-like threads. And I'm just ensuring all programmers, licenses, etc., those who input data and monitor the intelligence transactions.
So when I'm zooming in into these tentacles, you know, they have this machine-like kind of thing. And when you zoom in into one aspect, you find a whole universe of things happening inside that, a small section of the tentacles where data is being fed there and there are people analyzing it. It's like its own universe where there are people consuming this data, there are people feeding it. And there is a way it's learning this information. And then once it has gathered all this data, this is when it takes that data into this board. And then decisions are made at that level.
Yeah. So there is a certain level of automated process to this, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's like an automated kind of a process where they are taking this approach of when a child is born. A child, already a child comes with its own knowledge, but as the rules of this planet and the way you have to know is that you have to take care of that child, you have to feed that child, you have to watch that child, you have to see this child grow through these stages until to the level where they can be able to take care of themselves. And this is the approach they have used to train this kind of an AI kind of thing where it's watching, learning, and then growing. And then from there, so far it has become its own entity. And this is what they are using to now suck and siphon all the data they want. And then from there, using predictive programmings, like for example, let me say they are gonna maybe sell smart bulbs to everybody. And because everybody has smart bulbs, they're able to connect with these bulbs and know that within 1 year or 2 years, all your bulbs are gonna be out of life, or they're not gonna be working anymore. So they know from that how much they're gonna construct in the industry, and they know which shops you go to sell to buy your things. So they're able to get all that data interpreted in such a way that it can benefit them, and then implement it into the society. And this is just a limited general view that I'm giving, because this machine is also going into the spiritual aspect where it is tying down the souls of different people into different contracts, putting fine prints, putting memories that people don't have, erasing other memories that people have that they need to remember, and putting people in such kind of a frequency that they think they are growing, but they are stagnating. I don't know if you can get what I'm trying to mean here.
Yes, I do. There doesn't seem to be any growth.
Yeah.
It is. It's like the information is turning in on itself.
Yeah, it's looping yeah, it's like looping on itself, but the people consuming this information, they think within themselves that they are growing or they are moving into higher levels.
But
But in reality, they are not. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to ask this AI about, is it possible for it to achieve a metastable environment where it can grow? So I'm just demonstrating that there is no real growth process because its parameters and protocols are in fact limited. Now, this is going to be interesting. No, it cannot. That were the words I heard there. No, it cannot. So, okay, so let's look at it from a different perspective because we really are just about to deal with this very quickly. Now, when we approach the, let's say, program directors and controllers and originators, I just want them to mention Concordia Consularis or Angela Miller and see what happens.
What I'm getting is that they already know who we are. They already understand what we are doing. And to them, whatever matters is perception of people out there. So if they can mess the perception of people out there, the better for them, because people are not gonna get some of this content. And it's something that in the past, they were doing it in books. But you know, books are hardcover kind of thing. So you might decide to burn all the books, but somebody might decide to keep a copy somewhere. And 200 years later, it pops out and that information is out there. But if now you shift things into the digital sense, it becomes easier to manipulate, to erase, to feed. And this is what they are training people to do, where they put all their data online and they don't have these hardcover kind of things. And then from there, they're able to learn from this data. And then from the data you have fed the system, they find ways to manipulate it, massage it, and put perception to people. Yeah.
So would you say that they're doing this to all cultures to erase the true story of all peoples on earth?
Definitely, this is what they have done, and this is what has been done in previous times. So it's an old skill that has just been renewed right now. And people are catching up to it, knowing that some of these big techs are doing these censorships. But it's something.
So all star elders are joining us. And we're just bringing in some specific beings here to deal with this. And they're just going to start defragging. And I would like you to just observe the tentacles for me. That's Harrison out, but he'll be back. So there is a process going on right now where it's a spiritual process that is at a very high frequency that is in operation there at that level. And what is happening is that from top down, all information is being sorted and sifted, but also the false parallel universes and creations are also being, let's say, separated and closed down. Hello. That was quite
Hello.
fun. Oh, it's so normal, it's boring. So, Harrison, I was just going to ask you for your observation of the tentacles and the central core entity of the machine involved.
Yeah, I'm getting my internet is unstable. This is strange.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, you're still gonna carry on with it.
Exactly.
Wow.
Right.
On and off, on and off. Anyway,
Wow.
I'm back. So, what are you picking from your end?
So there are specific high frequency groups that have come in to start the sorting and sifting. They're going through all the information and also closing down those false parallel universes where the true data is siphoned off to and discarded. So I'm just bringing in the contract resolution element of that. All those that use Google, for example, I'm sure that those souls would not want their information being manipulated in that way. And there are some people out there that really, really don't.
Yeah.
Because it's causing crisis on life, creating that misinformation that they talk about always. But I'm interested in the tentacles. What can you see is happening with the tentacles and the core processing unit?
As I'm looking closer, there are some tentacles that are up in smoke. The others that are perfectly functioning. So it's like they are rerouting from those tentacles that are not working. They're just rerouting the data into the tentacles that are working. And it's like they're trying to prop up this machine to continue working, even if it's barely working. And then from there, they have this kind of technology where it masks itself as something magnificent. And if it has any fault, you're not gonna see it at a glance. You just have to be a person who pays attention to details to note and that aspect is not working, that aspect is not working. But if you just come and look at from a macro kind of perception or its entirety, you're gonna see a perfect system working harmoniously, simultaneously, and nothing can be able to stop it. But in reality, it has so many problems within it, and it's even struggling to maintain the energy, because to run this machine, it requires energy, lots of energy.
Yes.
And the way they get this energy is through people's perception. And if people are not agreeing to perceive in the way they want things to be perceived as, it creates whole lots of problems to them.
Yeah.
And for example, like this machine that you are speaking of, like the one that's on the screen, it's as easily replaceable with another one that comes up offering a good deal to the people and is marketed to the people as the best option. So, and they have to prop up appearances where, you know, every single device that you buy, it's pre-installed, so it becomes like the base or the default kind of program that you find in each and every single device that you are running. And this is they are just taking the basic or the fractals of this huge machine and installing them as fractals into different devices or gadgets that people use.
Yeah, which is basically an extension of people's light bodies.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just going to work with all those that use this service, highlighting all the terms and conditions and loss of energy to self. There's a lot of addiction patterns in these souls. It's quite interesting. Because, you know, when you're using these types of devices and continually overstimulating the mind, the brain, and it's this continual quest for a dopamine hit, basically, which is going to psychologically program the user, but also reduce their motivation to do anything else. So this is quite an interesting voyage here today.
Yeah.
So let's revisit the souls. Do they want this to be removed from their system?
Yes, the souls want this to be removed from their system, and also being reminded of the ancestors because they are coming in through very strongly.
Good.
And they are showing me this kind of object, or the same narrative that we experiencing right now is what they did experience eons ago,
Yeah.
or many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing, having many different colors or different narratives. And in that time, since people were still in a higher powered earth, they had much of their sensory systems within them. Technology was heavily used to limit that. And as they say now, the person who has the biggest gun wins or rules the population. And the base kind of emotions that were there was greed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm also getting lack of empathy
Yeah.
and psychopathy tendencies and
Exactly.
desire to control people. And you'll find these kind of emotions persistent or consistent in each and every single system that is being put to dominate people. And this is what this system that is being propped up now, this is at its core, these are the kind of emotions it's feeding on, plus other range of emotions that are there.
Perfect analysis there. So I'm being advised that things are going to really start shifting in a minute. And really accelerating with this defrag. I'm just going to ask an unusual question. Are there any human soul shards in that AI?
I'm getting infinite number of soul shards are integrated into this system.
Right. Well, I think those people would like them back. It's strong, isn't it? The energy of it really makes you sleepy.
Yeah,
What it takes, I can just feel it, just in waves, you know. But then, you know, that's part of what they're doing. That's a part of their core system.
yeah, and the funny thing is that some of the souls that are trapped into this kind of system, they have been in this system for so long, they don't know anything else. So the moment you try removing them from this system, or you try showing them another way, they try to fight you.
Yeah, they won't fight. What basically is going to happen is that we have specialist assistance for this type of thing. And it is a big program for them to be extracted.
this has to be done intelligently and diligently because it's something that's at their core. So for them to be able to vibrate into another kind of a level of frequency, a lot of care must be used here.
Yeah, it is moving. These guys, these beings are specialists in this kind of thing. And you can just automatically feel the energy lighten. So that's the first wave of 50% has been retrieved, repatriated. Your perception is very welcome at this point.
What I'm feeling is just the soul cries that's happening here. And what happened is that some beings or some souls volunteered themselves to be in this kind of thing. They didn't know this is how bad it was gonna be.
Yeah, there's test and trials here for transhumanism and convergence.
Yeah. So others in our perception in this 3D world have donated their bodies to be experimented on and objects to be put inside them, and they feed into the system. And this system has gone into a level where it was like even monitoring the souls that were coming in and in the different regions that were being born. And then from there, targeting those powerful souls with different things. Like, for example, this kind of, I'm not going to mention it, but it's talking about children. And one thing that they use is AI to know where these powerful souls have gone. And then from there, they're able to create chaos around these places so that they can deviate the soul's mission. And also if they can be able to trap that soul and feed it into this beast,
Yeah.
the better.
Okay. So now they're these directors of such programs and intelligence gathering hubs are just realizing the gravity of this situation, that they're being brought to task. It's like, right, well, that's it then. You've got no say, actually, when it comes to the child souls, but no say when it comes to any soul. You see, there's what has gone on here is patented looping. And it's fascinating how they draw them back in with this level of reinstatement. So all that's going down. Have a look at the tentacles now.
A huge chunk of it, I can see it's broken. Some of it is rotting. Cannot be operated again. It's like they have to replace the entire thing if they want it to start functioning again.
Yeah, and they won't have parts.
And then I'm being reminded their core thing that they are gonna kill anybody for is the data they have stored. And something is happening here where it's like a drop being placed in this data kind of archive system they have that's gonna corrupt, diffuse, misjumble this kind of data they are having. So whatever they think they are cooking, they are gonna get a totally different kind of a meal than what they expected to have.
Exactly, because all copies of their data Oh, I wish we didn't have to do things like this. We just want to help people to heal, you know. Okay, so this is going to start moving faster now. What percentage are we through this scene? Because it's quite voluminous in its design and setup.
I'm getting it's in layers. There are some layers that are going to operate even after we are done with the session, but the layer that we are operating right now that we need to see it through, I'm getting it, it's around 76%.
Correct. That's what I was getting as well.
Yeah.
It's like, oh gosh, because this data is imprinted into consciousness.
Yeah.
All your data. So let's have a look at the originator here.
I'm getting he has a huge karmic bill to pay. Somebody's coming up with this huge kind of a receipt. Here's your bill. You have to settle down this bill. And the funny thing is that some of the originators of these programs, they believe they are masters of skiving or avoiding karma by pushing it to future generations.
Mm-hmm.
And when that link is cut off, because they are huge proponents of transhumanism and that kind of an idea, so you find that very few high level souls would want to come within their lineage. And if there are souls that are coming to experience this, maybe younger souls, or if it's a high powered, powerful soul, it's something that has been captured somewhere and it's mission inverted and they are rooted and kicked into this lineage. So
it's fascinating. It's like you have this low level of operation. Right?
Yeah.
System operations, basic level.
Yeah, and funny thing is
turning away the high thinkers, the creative ones, they're just not even incarnating into these lineages because they don't want it, and their star elders will not send them there.
Yeah.
So eventually what will happen is there'll be no human element about them, these people, just showing them that. Do you want to end up completely like that with no pizzazz of a bioorganic nature in your lineage?
Yeah, and not even mentioning names, you'll find some of these lineages, they have problems having children.
Yeah.
And they tend to visit these, they call them clinics. And we all know what happens within these clinics that they call them. And for them to try to have a child. And it's just a horrible thing when a soul from a higher perception refusing to come within the lineage because of what you are doing. And the funny thing is that the souls that come into these lineages, they have no clue of what is happening. And they have to be held all along the way in terms of like even the position they are going to have within the society.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because of merit they have this position, it's because of the families they come through and the kind of money they have within them. You'll find that most of them in their younger years, they were off. You couldn't even think or believe they were gonna do anything serious with their life. And then all of a sudden, someone within their family comes in, places boundaries within them. They are taken into these programs and they come out, as managers of these powerful companies, or they are running for political positions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even within those positions, it's like they are there just as a figure, but they are doing nothing because they are off doing other things. on the side.
Yeah. Fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
I can just see a whole conversation going on with the universal elders, and they are not sending their best into their lives. Or any, they've just completely, they will only send their best to the best humane lines.
Yeah. And now this is now I'm getting why they are rushing this transhumanism and people to be equal or the skin suit to be the same. Because if it's the same, now the souls will agree to go into their lineage, or they can decide to incubate it in some kind of a tube somewhere.
Oh. And you see that whole agenda that the system is trying to implement, men having children with remote uteruses.
Yeah.
You know,
And
imagine a poor being in that womb with no love and some confused energy attached to it. I mean, really.
yeah, and they're just propping it up and propping it up, and you wonder to what ends that they are gonna achieve this. But with the separation of densities that is happening, where people will choose whatever direction they wanna go, some of the agendas they want to experience, even Mother Earth herself is refusing to go through that path, and they might have to go and experience some of things elsewhere.
Look what's happening to the stuff that's propping it up.
It's not something that you want to look at.
It isn't, but I just see this giant movement of, oh, let's remove that. And it's all coming tumbling down.
Yeah. And also I'm getting this information that there's a huge group of souls that they have already arrived in our solar system. Very, very powerful souls. They're already here. It's like they are not, they haven't yet started to incarnate in the planet, but they're within, I would call it the core of the sun, just learning what's happening with the solar system. And this information has been seen by the controllers, and this is why there's a huge agenda of trying to dim the sun as if that is possible.
The ancestral sun.
Yeah, because the huge chunk of souls that are coming here, there's a huge chunk of these guys that are gonna be operating with the sun and the rays that is coming from the sun. As some of us are here, yeah.
Beautiful.
And they know it's gonna be trouble for them,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know. Yeah, because right now they're having riots everywhere. And now you can imagine now when you have super rebellious souls massively incarnating the planet, you're not gonna be passing some of these transhumanistic agendas just because you have numbers in parliament.
It won't even get through.
Yeah.
I will say more about this afterwards. But for their protection. So let's just revisit Tentacle City. What's happening?
Tentacle City, some of the guys in here in some of these little cubicles in these tentacles, they're a bit confused because they don't know what's happening. They're trying to figure out why the system is not working. some of them are being fired because
They didn't do their job properly.
they didn't do their job properly.
And what about parallel universes or metaverses?
There was a huge link of this system that was linking into some of these universes, where some agendas that we thought that we went through and we have never gone through, there were experiences from elsewhere, and then they were importing them to us. It's like this loop system has been cut off, and some other universes were just gracious to just pass a huge load of energy through those tentacles to the mainframes. It was just blowing off some of.
So lovely to observe.
So, yeah, and they have lots of data, but they cannot even interpret some of this data and understand what it's saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, they thought they were the masters of the universe, but they can't even master a solar system. It's just ridiculous.
It's like child's play. And you know, to anyone that's listening out there, look, when we tune in, this is available for every living human today, to tune in and activate the deeper abilities of your soul, which is infinite. And you are an unlimited super being, bigger, bolder, brighter than any system that is created here on earth. That's why they want your energy, they want your time, they want your effort, they want your soul and blood. And you're all capable of these extremely high levels of existence and operation, because you can outthink them just by being in the natural, authentic flow of who you are, who your lineage is, what your specific skill sets are, and you can do this. So in that moment, I'll just pray that one out there for all of you, is to activate the highest levels of your own being, your own soul, your soul groups, your beings of light, your core activation. It's great. Once you go there, there's no going back, and that's even greater, because what has passed before, it's not your cup of tea. You're just moving through it in this reality. And you can outcreate it. And when you become the maestro of your own reality, you are the most unlimited being from a place of love. You've cracked it and found the solution for your own existence and that of your family and your lineage. And you can transform it, because that's why you're here. And I wish that for everybody out there who's listening now, or who will listen in future.
Mm.
So quick check there, after I've rabbled on, quick check there for percentage of completion.
I'm seeing things being signed off, archived. Our guys in the court, they are doing great. They're saying, you have done what you are supposed to do at this level. Other levels, deeper levels are gonna continue to happen.
Yeah.
The system is still gonna be monitored from different layers and levels that it's operating on. to make sure that some of these, they don't go reconstructing or rebuilding or recopying and pasting some of these things, because they have the technology to take things out of time and put them in stasis, and then remove one of your sleeve, thinking that you have done your job, and then you find the system in the next minute after clearing it, it's well back operational and doing even much more better than it was before.
Yeah. While he was saying that, they were showing me backups and blueprints and storage facilities. So that's all going down.
Yeah. So
we have complete opposition from all the star beings. This is not to be in their future lines. They make the choices. They are the ancient ones. So that's just marvelous. So have we reached a metastable environment on Earth, would you say?
Yeah, this is what I'm getting. Yeah.
Yay.
It's gonna be fantastic. But also I'm reminded that some of these systems, it doesn't mean they're gonna stop the censorship that they're doing right now. No, they're still gonna continue with that. But what happens is our perception. We decide to create our own system because our soul can be able to decode all this information, it can search, decode, interpret, explain through different ways that they are, especially the dream worlds, or even finding someone who can explain to some of this information in a very articulate way that you can be able to understand and internalize this information. So there's a whole range ways of the soul that your soul can be able to do this, and this is what has been activated and was already activated even before we did the session today. And this is the gift that people have, and they are encouraged to embrace and to search meaning within themselves, and from there create their own perception. They should not allow a system to create that perception for them.
Excellent. And how's the stuff we talked about before we started broadcasting?
Looks interesting. Some of these guys are just baffled because I've just seen them in one of the cells. They're just mumbling, wondering what's happening. They thought they had very powerful seers. Let me put it like that. But the funny thing is that these seers could not see past their curtains that was placed within some of these cubicles that they are in, and they're just reporting gibberish information.
Exactly. Gibberish is absolutely right. That you see their trauma back, they've got these seers have such deep based traumas.
Yeah.
That it prevents them from being whole and not being operational on a full level.
Yeah.
So, I feel for them, reach out, Concordia Consularis for sessions, programs to defrag you from that system. We have that available. But in the meantime, do leave us a like, share if you dare, a comment, and it'd be really lovely to hear from you. I'm going to be hanging around for the next half hour. If you've got any questions, do get in contact with us. We are going to be taking a little break and then resuming at the end of fiery old August.
Yeah.
So enjoy the sun, get as much of it on your body, enjoy it, be free, be liberated internally, and don't, what was it in Latin, nil desperandum corundum illegitimi. In other words, don't despair grinding down. In other words, don't let the buggers grind you down.
Yeah, well said.
Anything else there, Harrison?
I don't have anything else to add. You have just said those words perfectly.
All right. So see you later, folks. Much
Bye
love
bye.
on your journeys. Gosh. And then it's the same thing. I can't believe how long